Hello, good evening. Welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live from Anisab at Desawe Kanda, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. As always, we're streaming live on Facebook and X at 3FM 927. Join us with your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions as we are streaming live now also on Instagram and also on X. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Hot Edition on 3FM 927 across all social media platforms. Share your thoughts with us. We don't have an economy, so what is he going to advise on? As Kwame PNM on Ken Ofori-Atta's new appointment. We'll tell you about it. And matters are rising here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Also, we have reactions from that particular statement from the Information Minister designate who's been defending this new appointment of Ken Ofori-Atta. We have details for you, plus the latest on the NCA's lacking authority to sanction media content. That's according to the Media Foundation for West Africa. We have details for you here on Hot Edition. Your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions are welcome. And lawyer sues Chief Justice, General Legal Counsel over circular to courts not to grant him audience. We have update for you here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Stay with us. Your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions are welcome here. I am Alfred Ocansey. This is Hot Edition. Let's get into the details now here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. And as the story we've been following quite closely, especially with respect to the issues as it plays out here on Hot Edition. Today, based on the monitoring of the happenings in Boko, some 4 radio stations have been shut down. As a result of, according to what the National Communications Authority described as very threatening content. We have details for you and the reactions so far on this matter. But as Ghanaians eagerly await President Akufo-Addo's penultimate State of the Nation address tomorrow, Organized Labour is saying it expects nothing extraordinary from the president. Tuesday's address is a constitutional imperative that requires the president to convey a message on the state of the nation at the commencement of each session. However, the last 7 years has seen the president use the platform to tout his achievements. Ahead of the State of the Nation address, some labor unions say they have very low expectations from the address. President of the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, King Ali Awudu, and President of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Enjo Kabono, and General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Thomas Musa Tanko, has been also been speaking to 3FM News on this development. Any expectations so far?
Unemployment has gone so high. How can you say that you have managed the economy in such a way that things have improved when people have no jobs? Prices of goods and things have gone up.
I don't have too much hope and expectation in what the president is going to address the nation on. I don't. I mean, the situation is getting dire and dire by the day. Value of incomes are dwindling by the day.
All is not well with us. So we are currently with the IMF, meaning we are currently at the intensive care unit.
Well, these are some reactions from, in fact, expectations of labor unions ahead of President Akufo-Addo's State of the Nation address, which is the last as president. Now, for the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, ICU, they expect announcement of a bailout package for 4 distressed state companies, including Volta Star Textiles, New Plant Ghana, Aloex, and PBC. We'll get into that shortly. Well, Information Minister designate Fatima Abubakar says the president's address will center heavily on security and the Ghanaian economy.
is to give an account of what is done with the mandate in terms of security, in terms of the economic recovery program that we are on. It is no news that between 2020 and 2022, we were faced with a lot of challenges due to global happenings, as other countries experienced. And what the country has done since 2022 is to set us back on a path of stability and recovery. And I believe that's what the President of the Republic would love to throw a lot of light on. Also, there's been so many infrastructural projects that the government has undertaken in the railway sector, road infrastructure, among others, and the various health infrastructure projects that government has started under the Agenda 111 projects, and also some legacy projects that the government has completed. I believe this will be one of those opportunities that he will tell Ghanaians how he has kept the country safe, how he has made sure the needed resources required by the various security agencies are provided, they get the executive backing so that Ghana takes its rightful position as the most peaceful country in West Africa and one of the most peaceful countries in Africa. So I'm excited to listen to what the president will say, and I will not take the wind out of his sail. But these are some of the topmost achievements of the government: stability, the economic recovery program, security, social support and social intervention program for the vulnerable people, decentralization, and all the wonderful initiatives and developments that have taken place at the various districts and regions, especially the newly created regions.
The country hasn't recovered yet economically. What specifically should we expect? Yes, you don't want to take the wind out of the sail, but what specifically should we expect the president to tell Ghanaians that will give them some sort of comfort economically moving forward?
The prospects, the projections, the PCPEG growth program, or the post-COVID program for economic growth that the government through the Ministry of Finance and to the IMF, and the disbursements that have come, how we are using that to support the economy and set us back on the path of economic growth.
Oh, so that's Information Minister Designate Fatima Abubakar there. Let's go on to the telephone lines now. And the President of Ghana Union Trade Association, GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, is joining us. Dr. Obeng, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Great. Now, President Akufo-Addo, all things being equal, is expected to deliver a State of Nation address, the last as president, tomorrow. I mean, for GUTA, there are a number of concerns that you have consistently put out there. Do they feed into any expectations ahead of tomorrow at all?
Yeah, we are expecting that he's going to talk about the problems that we faced as businesses during the last couple of months. That's last quarter of 2022 through to the beginning of the year when we entered the IMF. You will recall that depreciation of the currency peaked at 15.5 per dollar, and then inflation was about 54%, and that was the time that businesses suffered the most. Then we came to 2023, where Ghana have to go IMF, and then the conditionalities that also was imposed on us through the three taxes that were imposed on us, and other conditionalities that made things very difficult. Through to the mid of 2023, where the first tranche has come, and then we saw some kind of stability. So now that the inflation have dropped from 54% to about 23%, and then there is stability, seeming stability of the currency. The monetary policy rate is also coming down. So that is what I would say about what businesses have gone through. And I'm expecting that the president is going to talk about things that they are going to do to be able to sustain these gains that we are having this time around, so that businesses can actually recoup our losses during the last few months. And so this is what we are expecting. And that, in order to be able to sustain this, we are expecting that the government is able to successfully implement the IMF program, the extended credit facility, so we can get the third tranche within reasonable time, so that we can be able to sustain the stability in the economy. Then we are also expecting that he highlights on how to maintain fiscal discipline, especially in the era of election, so that we do not throw away any gains. We are also not expecting that the VAT on the UCD that has been removed be come again, that it should be maintained that it is removed. You know that they say we have to go for stakeholder engagement. We are not expecting that these things come back to hurt the gains that we are having as of now. Yeah, so we want things that will bring policies that will. We are expecting that they bring policies of respite for businesses to be able to grow. Yeah.
Are you expecting a definitive statement from the president that this VAT on electricity, for instance, which has been suspended for some stakeholder engagement to take place, this should be off the books completely? Is that a definitive statement you expect the president to make?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'll be surprised if that can be brought back or even be entertained to come back, because businesses have suffered a lot in the few couple of months, and there is the first time the indicators are getting right, the monetary policy rate coming down, inflation coming down. Even though inflation at 23, we still expect that it comes further down, so that it will bring respite for businesses for us to grow. So it's not expected that we bring in new taxes that will also hurt these gains that we are getting now. So I'll be surprised if it is brought back or something to suggest that they want to entertain that. I'm not expecting that at all.
See, then quickly on the issue of the tax burden as well, because that has also been a big issue as well as we speak. And for you businesses, you've been bearing the brunt of this tax burden, and in most cases passing it on to the consumers who can't also pay or don't have enough money to even buy. So you've had to keep these goods to yourself. What are the expectations in that regard?
Yeah, so we have been complaining about a high cost of doing business all this time. And that's why we say that we cannot afford to entertain any layer of cost of doing business. That's why we vehemently oppose to the VAT on LUCD and the other one, the emission taxes and all that. Because we should be relieved of these taxes that we pay. And then also, let me also say that we are also expecting the government to also emphasize the fact that we should maintain fiscal discipline, especially at this time that is an election year, that we have to be disciplined in our fiscal policies and all that, in order not to throw any gains that we are expecting, especially with regard to the stability of the economy. Yeah. So it is very important that we think through all that.
Indeed. I appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's Dr. Joseph Obeng, is the president of the Ghana Union Trade Association, GUTA. Let's go on to the line, because the General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, Edward Karewa, is also vexed in economics and law, joining us here on Ghana, on Hot Edition. I beg your pardon. Good evening to you. Mr. Karewa, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Great. Now, for you, I recall the last time we had a conversation, you were concerned about the increasing cost of agricultural inputs and the fact that there was no specific intervention, as it were, in the agricultural sector to improve on the gains in this year. What are your expectations going into tomorrow, the President's State of the Nation address, the final one?
Well, I think that there are going to be, the president will give an account of how he has been able to manage the economy over the years, and particularly the previous year. And then she would seek to also give us hope. And as that, he would tout the successes of the economy so far, the resilience of the economy so far, and agriculture will feature strongly to say that the policies in agriculture have done well, and then also that is what I expect His Excellency to tell us. But I would like him to give an account of the state of the One Village, One Dam project, whether those dams are in existence, whether they are operational, and whether they are going to build new ones or additional ones. The other one is to let him tell us what is the fate of the Pologo multipurpose dam, whether we will see work resume on it immediately. And then I also like him to tell us about the relationship between Galamsey and agriculture, and how much has Galamsey destroyed agricultural resources, and whether or not that is going to be the end of the destruction. That is to say, whether he has been able to decisively deal with Galamsey to the point that it is no more a threat to further destruction of agricultural resources like rivers, like plantations. People who have got their cocoa farms, they should be assured that people will not encroach on them again, Galamseyers. Companies that have got their concessions for plantation agriculture like oil, palm, rubber plantations will not be encroached upon. This is what I expect His Excellency to tell us.
I see, but all of this are issues that have been lingering for quite a while now. For instance, the impact of illegal mining on farming, or that is agriculture for that matter. Has there been any forward-moving policy or intervention so as to give you that confidence that what is needed is being done to ensure that at least the agriculture sector does not continue to suffer from the impact of illegal mining?
Well, to be frank with you or honest with you, I think that this is my expectation. If it does happen tomorrow, I will be surprised myself, because I don't expect that government will come to admit the level of Galamsey destruction in our environment, and then also to admit that government has failed to stop Galamsey to destroy. What I also think that he may come to say, look, I have been consistent in fighting Galamsey. I've introduced a number of measures to fight Galamsey, but that is not enough. You know, we are looking at outcomes of policies and not policy intentions. The whole agricultural sector, we have had the Planting for Food and Jobs phase 1. We are now in the phase 2. There have been fertilizer subsidies, and then input subsidies, other input subsidies. But what do we have to show for it? You know, we've also had post-harvest losses. We've had institutions like Buffer Stock Company, which are supposed to mop up excess produce during the harvesting period and then release it into the market during the lean season. But we all know that these institutions are almost non-functional in the sense that they don't have money to carry on their mandate. And again, we also know that policies have been introduced to ensure that market is created at the farm gate for producers by the policy that SHS schools, because they have free feeding, to source their food from the communities in which they are sited. But unfortunately, again, we know that the school feeding program is rather sourcing food from Accra and distributing it to the rural areas, even where the food is grown. Some of the foodstuffs are even imported. So I believe what we should expect is that he would dwell much on policy, but at the end of the day, it is not policy that put food on our table. We would like him to tell us how much those policies have yielded outcomes. And again, of course, when it comes to agriculture, a lot of statistics may also come from His Excellency. And it is those statistics that we have been worried about. We have not been happy in the past because statistics must be tested on the ground. And when you go on the ground, what the statistics say it is, what is on the ground is different. So again, once it's going to be his last State of the Nation address, I much expect that it will be painted in such a way that it will be a success for the government. And when it comes to agriculture, they would like to hype that to show how they have succeeded in creating jobs that are not sustainable, jobs you cannot verify, jobs that are not tangible, and so on. So this, I expect, would come tomorrow. But moving forward, we really need to have strong commitment that going into the future, we are going to increase the proportion of irrigation agriculture because we are directly confronted with the effects of climate change. And it's not going to abate now. We should expect it to get worse in the future. So we can't rely on rain-fed agriculture as much as we used to do in the past. So we need to increase our irrigation agriculture in the country.
That's
Otherwise,
right.
We are destined to have a worse situation in the future.
And that's why the One Village, One Dam update is extremely important. I thank you so much for your thoughts on this. Appreciate it. That's Edward Kara, is General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, with the expectations ahead of the President's penultimate State of the Nation address tomorrow. A number of you also on the streets of Accra had this to say.
My expectation is zero, because it's not going to tell us anything good. I mean, the old things. There's nothing new that he's going to say. For me, there's nothing. So Ghanaians shouldn't expect nothing but zero, zero State of Nations address.
The thing is that he will solve the emerging problem that is facing Ghanaians now, the economic problem of the country, and then job employment, and that is my expectation.
Well, I want him to say like something about job, because in Ghana there is no much job in Ghana, and so I want him to bring different kind of jobs so that the youth in the Ghana will get something so that they'll be doing it.
Tomorrow, since we are in the election year, we're expecting that we will get a booming of the economy. When it comes to jobs, the young ones will get. When it comes to the financial aspect, to the dollar rate, the fuel that has gone high, the educational aspect, and then when it comes to the companies also that are pressing hard to survive, the president can speak to us and then make things normal for us. At least this election year, we should see something better. The wahala is too much.
The wahala is too much. Those are some of you also sharing your thoughts and the expectations ahead of President Kufuor's penultimate State of the Nation address tomorrow. It's live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. Also on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. 28 minutes after 5. Information Minister designate Fatima Abubakar has defended the reassignment of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to a new appointment, emphasizing his unquestionable and also the capacity to provide valuable advice in the financial sector. Here is what Fatima Abubakar, Information Minister designate, had to say when my colleague Beatrice Edu put it to her that there are questions about the relevance of this new appointment of Ken Ofori-Atta as Senior Presidential Advisor and Special Envoy for International Finance and Private Sector Investment, just a day after he was relieved of his job as Finance Minister. Now, we have a copy of that appointment letter signed by the Chief of Staff, Ramoso Parry, just a day after that decision by President Kufuor to remove him as Finance Minister, which was on the 14th of February, Valentine's Day reshuffle. But this letter reappointing or reassigning Ken Ofori-Atta bears the date 15th February. So that's what happened, and this is what Fatima Abubakar had to say about this appointment, indicating that it is one that is of relevance and importance to the president.
Advice in the financial sector is not lost just because he's no longer finance minister.
You think that
if his skills are required elsewhere and the president believes he can help us with some negotiations or can advise, I don't think there should be a big problem about that.
You think his reappointment is justified because he's qualified for it?
Of course.
But again, in this same period, over 80 MPs of the same government did not think that he was using the supposed competence and skills you talk about, which you say he used to manage the economy in good times. They didn't think that he used that to help us during the economic crisis.
I am saying that if you listen, even with the majority, if you listen to their press conferences, the interviews that some of them gave, which I watched a few, they were not saying that he should be removed because he lacks capacity. They were saying that the difficult times that we have gone through, the public sentiments must be listened to.
Well, so that's Fatima Abubakar talking about public sentiments and what has to be done going forward and being listened to and so on. But this is what Professor Bafo Ajibendua is also a professor of governance and former advisor on governance at the United Nations, shared with us in his view that position taken by the Information Minister designate about this new appointment of Ken Ofori-Atta is untenable. And in his view, this appointment is unjustifiable.
The president has not breached any law by making that appointment. And therefore, I think he used his power, the constitution, which the people have given him these kinds of discretionary powers. So he has done nothing wrong. Nonetheless, and this is a big nonetheless, in exercising that discretion, presidents are expected to be circumspect in making such decisions, especially when there is a groundswell of public sentiment against this particular issue. So it was important for the president to have considered the context of the changes that he was making. So if he relieved the man of his appointment, substantive appointment as finance minister, and appointed his deputy in his place, and then you turn around to make the former minister your senior advisor, and more importantly, special envoy on international finance and capital markets or something like that.
Private sector investment.
It seems to me that the new role of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta could supersede the exercise of power of the finance minister. Because if you look at it, during all these 7 years, the former finance minister has been quite prominent in utilizing capital markets in managing our finances, to the extent of borrowing hitting the ceiling and Ghana being stopped from further borrowing on the international market. Of course, if we still have some arrangements that he thinks he can do, let's face facts. God forbid, if he's incapacitated, wouldn't there be anybody to play that role? But more importantly, if the country is going to negotiate for the capital markets or any financial dealings with any of these IFIs, will it be the finance minister who has that mandate to lead that charge, or will it be the new special envoy who will have to lead the charge? So,
very critical questions being asked by Professor Bafo Ajimendia. There is a professor of governance and former advisor on governance at the United Nations, sharing his thoughts with us on this new appointment of Ken Ofori-Atta, which has generated a lot of conversation as to the relevance of it. You've heard the information minister designate Fatima Abubakar justifying that it's a relevant decision that President Kufuor has made. But talk about the economy, the impact, and also issues of policy. Education think tank Africa Education Watch is urging the government to review the free senior high school policy with the aim of focusing more on the needs of children from the poorest households. Now, this follows a study by the group that noted that government is not spending on the policy as much as it is professing to do. Now, the study revealed that since 2017, the share of the cost of free senior high school borne by parents actually keeps increasing. Now, here are just aspects of the findings, which you have the full complement of it on 3news.com. The enrollment in secondary school has also increased annually from 813,448 to 1.3 million people, that's students, since free senior high school started in 2017. About 5.7 million students have so far benefited from the free senior high school policy. A total of 12.88 billion Ghana cedis has been allocated to the free senior high school policy since its inception, average of 1.84 billion annually since 2017. Now, here's the catch. The expenditure being borne by parents, as in for new students, for instance, if you're just getting into senior high school as a SHS1 student, the total cost borne by parents under free senior high school policy on the awards is, at least for the first year, the monitored 2017-2018 academic year, was 3,704 Ghana cedis. Now, this increased to 3,649 Ghana cedis in the 2019-2020 academic year, and further increased to 6,477 Ghana cedis in the 2022-2023 academic year. Now, the cost of prospectus constitutes about 45% of the total cost. Also, there is no significant difference, that's about 3%, between the prospectus for the senior high school boarding students and the technical and vocational educational training student attending these vocational institutions. And if you look at the continuing students as well, it's no different. The story is no different. Parents continue to have an increase in the cost that they have to incur on, for instance, SHS2, SHS3 students. So from 2017-2018 academic year, the cost that parents bore for these continuing students was 2,087 Ghana cedis. That increased to 4,000 cedis in the 2019-2020 academic year, and further increased to 2022-2023 academic year. We saw a further increase of that as well. Now, of the total extra costs incurred in the 2022-2023 academic year, about 60% was expended on non-perishable food items. Talk about provisions, that's what you know. Now, 10% on transportation, 10% on books, 10% on upkeep, that's cash, and 10% on personal effects. It now brings to question that chorus that underlined the free senior high school, that all you needed was a chop box and a trunk and a mattress, and you're good to go. Now, Kofi Asare is the Africa Education Watch Executive Director, is joining us. Kofi, great work, first of all, to start with, to you and your team, and with what you've just done with the free senior high school policy. But it raises fundamental questions, is it not, about whether or not the real objective or intent of this policy has been achieved, isn't it?
Thank you, Alfred, and your team. And let me acknowledge the support of the Ghana Statistical Service. the Ministry of Education, Parliament of Ghana, and Oxfam particularly, who supported this study, which took about a whole year to undertake. I must admit that in relation to the objective of the policy, largely significant measure of the objective is being achieved, in the sense that you realize that we are currently enrolling over 80%, of junior high school graduates, and that indicates over a 10% increase in the percentage of junior high school students transiting from junior high school to senior high school between 2016-17 and then now. And the fact that we are bringing about 1.3 million from 813,000 at the base year also means that significant improvement has happened. And the 10% increase in the net admission at the secondary level was obviously as a result of the policy. So, yes, good progress has been made in terms of increasing access. This research comes in on the line of equity. And this is very, very simple. Before free senior high school, parents were taking care of the 100% cost of enrolling their children in senior high school. They were paying fees. As a result of the free senior high school, during the launch, His Excellency, the President, indicated at WAS, West Africa Senior High School, that as a result of the launch of the program, financial barriers of accessing secondary education should never exist, and that the poor should never be denied secondary education because they don't have money. That's what he declared. And they gave us the understanding and the confidence that the equity was going to be of primary concern and priority in the policy implementation. And that is why we are undertaking this study to support government in enhancing the equitable aspect of the policy. We realized that between 2017 and 2022, when the policy was introduced, averagely government is absorbing 23% of the cost originally borne by parents under the non-free senior high school era, which means that as a result of the introduction of the free senior high school in 2017, government is absorbing 23% of the cost originally borne by parents. The parents are still bearing about 77% of the cost. That is the extent to which the free comes. Okay, now, and we are worried because if you look at the data, between 2017 and 2021-2022 academic year, between 2017 and 2022-2023 academic year, 197,000 candidates who were placed in senior high schools did not enroll. Okay, that's a significant number. They did not enroll at first instance, which means that in the year they were placed, they didn't go to school. Initially, it was about 10% of the total placed students. It has declined considerably to 2023, when it was about 2%. But having between 7,000 and then up to 15,000 people, being placed and not being enrolled year on year, which means that poverty is still, financial access barriers are real. This study interviewed 20 of such students who were unable to enroll. If you look at the report, you will see case studies. You will see quotes of parents whose children were unable to enroll, they were replaced in schools. The parents are named, the students are named, the districts are named. So you see that poor people are still struggling to pay because they are paying 77% of the cost. Now, what's the cost? The cost is that as of this year, the minimum one required to pay for prospectus is about 2,100. And it's the minimum, okay? And that constituted about 45% of the cost of enrolling one in senior high school. It means that one requires at least 5,000 cedis to honor their admission in a senior high school. That's the minimum. Because for schools like Prefect, where we have students we are supporting, we have spent more than 7,000, even though we are still in the first term. So this is the minimum, 5,000. If you look at data from the statistical service, then it means that Ghanaians living in the low-income quintile households, whose household expenditure annually is between 8,000 and as low as 5,000 cedis a year. Bear in mind that these students are not the only ones in the household. The whole household's expenditure for the year is between 8,000 and 5,000. It means that students who come from these households will struggle to go to secondary school because they cannot afford 5,000 for just one person of the household just to go to senior high school at the initial stage.
That's for the first
year.
year.
That is why we have raised the issue of the need to target the policy mostly at people from such households, so that they would need more than just giving them food, giving them free uniform, and giving them free textbooks, so free exercise books.
Yeah.
Beyond that, they would need giving them virtually major items in the prospectus, because they are from the lowest income households. The challenge in the past has been that government always made the excuse that they don't have data on the poorest, and so how do they administer it? And we kept referencing that government, there's a LEAP program where about 1 million Ghanaians receive bi-monthly, stipends. Every 2 months they receive stipends to support their living, which means that you already know them. Right. I'm not getting some because I'm not on the database. So there's a comprehensive database. But government excuse was that, it wasn't the whole Ghana, it was only in some 7 or 8 regions. And so if we use the LEAP database to do the targeting, some will be left out. The reason I'm saying this is that the IMF program presents a wonderful opportunity. Another IMF program, government has committed, and indeed, government has almost completed the extension of the LEAP program to all the countries. Under the IMF program, government has committed to an indexation mechanism and expanding LEAP to cover the whole country. So there won't be any excuse that we don't have data on the poorest of the poor, because all those households are captured under the LEAP program, and government will be giving them money. So we are simply saying that if that is the case, let's do evidence-based policy making. Let's use our data to plan such that such households, students from such households, will be given more than they require, so that they will not be denied secondary education by virtue of the income level of their families, consistent with the objective of the free financial policy. But for that to happen, Alfred, because between 2017 and 2022, out of 7.6 billion cedis allocated to the policy, only 70% was financed from government.
Only 70%?
Out of 7.6 billion that was allocated to the free financial policy between 2017 and 2021-2022 academic year. Only 70%, that is 5.3 billion, was spent. Okay.
So what happened? What happened to the
30% funding gap? It means that you cannot just wake up and go and increase the free senior school allocation to children from low-income households simply because they need it. Because you are not able to even finance this one. So the meaning is that when you target, you reduce how much you are spending on Kofi Asare Standard Precinct, and then increase how much you are spending on Yamenu San in another senior high school, because that Yamenu comes from the lowest income household. Then we will be strengthening the equitable dimension of the policy. That is the context for the research, and that is the context for our recommendation.
I see. Now, so it still comes back to the question about the direct impact, for instance, that this would have. I say this because right from the get-go, the likes of even the former finance minister had indicated that the mass that's funding or the implementation of this by government was not the right way to go. Well, now we've seen the challenges so glaring. What should be the starting point to this?
Well, the starting point is that government itself has finally admitted on preterm basis of the recent IMF review report published in January. Still on the IMF website, government on preterm basis has committed that in the words of government, they will review and rationalize the free senior school policy. And so, if government has finally accepted this, then it means that what we can do as partners is to make suggestions to government, so that in reviewing and rationalizing the policy in government's own words, government will be guided or will take into account some of these recommendations, such that the poorest of the poor are those that will benefit from such a review, and not another wholesale generic free senior high school where government is spending an average of 1,241 cedis, or whether you are poor, whether you are rich, or whether you are from a middle income household.
Good point.
So this research is aimed to support government to strengthen the equitable implementation of the and equitable impact of the free senior high school program.
Kofi, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kofi Asare is the executive director of the Africa Education Watch, joining us with his thoughts on this matter. And if you make some time, visit 3news.com and get the full complement of that research they put out, indicating how much parents are spending on the awards, even with the free senior high school policy in place. But the University of Ghana has amended its academic integrity framework, particularly in its approach to plagiarism. A notice signed by the registrar, Emilia J. Mensah, and dated February 26, revealed that the University Council and the Academic Board have greenlit a series of crucial updates with a primary focus on combating plagiarism and other forms of academic misconduct. So now, Michael Obodo, they're going to, a notable addition to the revamped policy is the incorporation of artificial intelligence in academic work and research. So yes, the University of Ghana now is looking out for the use of AI for the, preparing project works and so on. And assignments as well by students. So that's the new integrity check in there for students. But hey, we'll see how things play out. Michael Obodo is standing by with the latest in the world of business. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
The 3FM Gobe Festival 2024. Gobe Lovers and Gobe Eaters Association. Time now, get ready for the biggest Gobe event in Ghana on Saturday, 16th March at the Akramo Interchange Park from 9 a.m. Come experience a food festival interlaced with fun activities and music performances like never before. Be there to savor different flavors and combos of Gobe, like Gobe and rice, or Gobe and kinky. Throw some pepper on the side, avocado in the center circle, and eggs on the top corner. Or last year was terrific. This year will be a showdown. Don't miss out on the gastronomic delights and vibrant atmosphere. Are you a Gobe seller or you know anyone? Call now to register 0532-200-927 or 0531-100-927. Let's link up. The 3FM Gobe Festival 2024. Your Gobe joint the B. Join us on Saturday, 16th March at 9 a.m. and let's transform the Akramo Interchange Park into a Gobe lovers paradise. 3FM 92.7, your ever lifestyle radio station.
Sponsored by Global, Inkulinu, Fidelity Bank, Bigo.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the business segment here on Hot Edition. Coming up tonight, Finance Minister Dr. Amin Adam calls for collaborations from players within the fintech space to make Ghana the fintech destination for Africa. Details coming up shortly. Please stay with us. Well, thank you for staying with us. Straight into our top story now. Minister of Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, is calling on all stakeholders within the fintech ecosystem to work towards making Ghana the fintech hub in Africa. Dr. Amin Adam, who was speaking at the press launch of the 3i Africa Summit 2024 in Accra, under the theme Innovation, Investment and Impact, stressed the need for financial fintechs for inclusive and sustainable development.
At the heart of the 3i Africa Summit is a commitment to driving these essential dialogues and partnerships centered on delivering sustainable long-term capital allocation that can transform Ghana and Africa's economic landscape. Our country, Ghana, is at a critical point in our development trajectory, and we need partnerships that support a growth framework that can meet our country's and the continent's ambitions for decades.
So that was the voice of Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam. He is the Minister of Finance. Away from that, economist Professor Godfrey Bobkin has criticized politics in Ghana, citing politicians' ambitions being traded for Ghana's macroeconomic stability. In an interview with 3 Business, he explained hoarding monies for political seasons disrupts the country's quest to attain economic stability. However, it has been the trend since time memorial.
Able to elevate macroeconomic stability, the common good, above political interest. So when the common good or macro good or macroeconomic stability seems to conflict with the political interest and the political goal. We choose the political interest or the political goal over the common good or macroeconomic stability. This is what we have been doing. And election management from the political party's perspective is an expensive enterprise. It's not for the faint-hearted, okay? And it's not run on credit.
So that was economist Professor Godfred Bobkit speaking. Now, finally, the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry says it anticipates proactive measures from the new finance minister to address the sector's financial challenges, with the government owing over 15 billion Ghana cedis to its members for past contracts. CEO Emmanuel Cherry emphasizes that the urgency for funds to be disbursed to contractors, especially in the light of the upcoming elections. Speaking to 3 Business, Cherry underlines the importance of Finance Minister Dr. Amin Adam ensuring prompt payments to the contractors for the government's benefit.
Ghana has a lot of work to do as we speak, because the debt portfolio and the construction industry alone is something that, to be honestly speaking, is quite huge. So he needs to find a way to raise the requisite funding to make sure that he closes that gaps and then go in for new projects, because we are in election year. Government of the day also need those new projects or the ongoing projects completed so that they can at least use that to do their campaign.
So you heard that the voice of Emmanuel Cherry. He is the CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry, bringing an end to the business segment here on Hot Edition. I am Michael Obudu. For more business stories, please check out our website. It's 3news.com/business. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Up next is sports, and Billy is on standby to bring you the latest.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Billy Shen. Let's start off from the Ghana Premier League, where Samatex extended their lead at the top of the table to 5 points after defeating second place Idiana 2-1 away from home. Baba Musa and Emmanuel Kayeke scored the goals for the Timber Giants.
Still hangs on and finds Kayeke. Lucky play from Kayeke. He drives one. What a beauty! Brilliant finish from Emmanuel Kayeke. This is an absolute beauty. Glorious goal from Kayeke. Wow. Samatex get a second and they get it in beautiful style.
That was a beautiful goal by Emmanuel Kayeke. Now, here is how the table looks like. Samatex are on top with 35 points. Idiana are second with 30 points. Nsoatreman are third, also with 30 points. And Asante Kotoko are fourth with 29 points. At the bottom, Heart of Lions are 16th with 18. Pofokotano are 17th with 18. And Real Tamale United are also at the bottom of the league with just 17 points so far in 18 matches. Now, once the Ghana Premier League continues, the nation is still preparing for the 2023 African Games. The Black Princesses, Ghana's under-20 women's national team, has listed 20 players for camping ahead of the multi-sport competition. The likes of Comfort Yeboah, Mayfia Nyame, and Stella Nyameche were included in Yusuf Basigi's squad. They will play their matches in the Cape Coast Stadium. From the local scene, we move abroad, where Joseph Pencil made his MLS debut as LA Galaxy drew 1-1 with Lionel Messi's side Inter Miami. He won a penalty in the game and was mostly lively. In an interview after the match, he revealed what he can bring to the team in the coming months.
As you can see, we have really young and talented players in this team. We have also up front with a great talented skills with the Brazilian, with me, with Peg, and also with Ricky. We just need a little bit time as time goes on, because we just arrived, and as you can see, we created a lot of chances. We should really finish, and yeah, this is part of football.
There is another Ghanaian expected to be in action tonight, and that is Mohamed Kudus, as West Ham takes on Brentford in the Premier League. Now, West Ham United coach David Moyes had this to say ahead of the game.
From the players, the performance from the players, it's always the one that ignites the supporters.
our performance is the most important thing. Let's concentrate on the pitch, and hopefully everybody concentrates on the action on the pitch.
Thanks, David.
Nick?
That was West Ham United coach David Moyes. Now to our final story. Everton's penalty for breaching Premier League financial rules has been reduced from 10 points to 6 after an appeal. The club were immediately docked 10 points in November for breaking profits and sustainability rules in the 3-year period from 2021-22 season. The punishment, the biggest in Premier League history, dropped Everton from 14th to 19th on the table. The reduction lifts them from 17th to 15th, although the club is facing another possible point deduction. That brings an end to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Billy Shen, and up next, it's entertainment with Akofa.
Hello and thank you for keeping your dial locked on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. My name is Akofa, and it's now time for the entertainment news segment powered by 3 Entertainment. We started off with season 15 of TV3's award-winning kids reality show Talented Kids. It has been launched with 16 gifted talents introduced to kickstart the event. It's going to be another 13 weeks of captivating performances starting from Sunday, March 3. Now, judges of the top-notch reality show wants the promising talents to be original and put their best foot forward.
The earth was vibrant.
It looks like this year we have quite a solid mix of different artists. You know, the musicians, the dancers, the poets. We have even somebody doing animal impersonation. Now, this was just day one, and the quality they brought on stage, if they're able to maintain this and add, this season is going to be very, very exciting, because what we want them to do is to make our jobs difficult as judges.
Amazed the way the kids today presented themselves. I mean, I wasn't there for the audition, so I can't tell how the other kids were, but this particular lot, the 16 that we saw, were incredible. Each of them came with the A game, so we're looking forward for the rest of the show, and I know they got more up their sleeves, so I'm looking forward to that.
I'll tell you the truth, one of the best decisions that I have ever made in my life is the fact that I'm a judge on this show. I can't wait to sit down here and go through this program and work with the children, encourage them, advise them, learn from them, let them entertain me, and then share with them some of my experiences, so that at the end of the event, some of these children will become celebrities, and they will even begin to make money like Nakiat and all the other ones who are enjoying from the fruits of this event.
And finally, before I go, Grammy Award-winning reggae band Morgan Heritage is in mourning following the sudden demise of their lead singer Peter Anthony Morgan. According to a family statement, Peter passed away on February 25, 2024. It is out of sincere love that we share that our beloved husband, father, son and brother and lead singer of Morgan Heritage, Peter Anthony Morgan, has ascended today. Jah comes and saves us from ourselves, because love is the only way, read part of the statement. Now, the family went on to ask the world for prayers and privacy during this difficult time. The statement added, "Our family thanks you in advance for your overwhelming love and support, and we ask for your continued prayers as we go through this process. We also ask that you please respect our privacy during this time of healing. May his soul rest in peace." And that's all the entertainment news here on Hot Edition, powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Akofa. Thanks for your time. For more news, log on to 3news.com and keep your dial locked on 3FM 92.7. The 3FM Drive continues.